sis, we're just in tune, man, because like as you're saying it, you just all the keywords are coming up for me. Nice segues, man. Because I wanted to delve into just like a lot of times again in my conversations, the topic of epigenetics, trauma, and there's like, so how have you personally as well as collectively for the people out there that might be thinking, can this help me with my family trauma, my relationship with my mother, grandmother, or even relationships that we might even be conscious of that might have been 300-400 years ago that we have no direct understanding about, but may come up in our experiences. Can you share any or give some enlightenment around that?
Yeah, everyone's got family problems. I mean, nobody, I think everyone who even thinks their family is perfect, if you think your family is perfect, then it's probably even worse than you think, Ultimately for me, I'd say, yeah, but you got to be willing to do the work because it's not fun. People, especially in the Black community, they want to, kind of get on us for taking mushrooms as drugs, like, oh, you're just getting high. I'm like, well, if dealing with my grandfather's masculinity, toxic masculinity complex, and the Black Panther lineage in my family, and healing my grandmother's sexual trauma, and if that's fun and getting high, then I don't know what you're smoking. You're the one who's high. So it's not fun, but it can be done. And it's extremely easy for you to put these things to rest in your family because you're the only one who should really have the information to be doing it. You don't want somebody else to do it for your family. You're the one who wants to, secretly, for the people who want their families to heal, I think they're the ones who really want to connect with, their dead grandparents or their great-great-grandparents or their great-great-great-grandparents, like you said, people who haven't been around in 300 years, and talk to them and find out what was their pride, what was their pain, what was their source of suffering, and then help them, not suffer anymore. Because when you help your ancestors stop suffering, it affects you instantaneously. It's like an algorithm, like a key that you can't access unless you press a specific code, and through the mushroom, for me, taking like 15 grams and, putting out flowers and saying my grandmother's name, or, putting out a cup of water, just traditional things and, what's connected to my family's lineage to honor an ancestor, and then taking the mushroom and then talking to them as if they're still alive and helping them, to understand and make spiritual realizations even after death so they don't have to suffer. I think that's really important, the grandfather that I led over to the other side, I say it like fairy work, is because when he was teaching me, he was also releasing, he was also purging, his attachment to this world. And when he let go of everything, he went into like a state of bliss. He was no longer unhappy. He was no longer moping around, around his body. It's helping him do his work, so that he could pass on to the other side without feeling like he was still attached to unfinished things, words left unsaid, things of that nature.
Cool. Appreciate that sharing there, sis. So on that note, how do you feel that it might be able to support with moving forward, like for the next generation now, like we do the work for the ancestors and those who might be in that process, but how does that support us in the here and now moving forward?
Well, moving forward, that's a really great point. I think that, my ancestral trauma affected me as a teenager, affected, heavier periods, fibroid tumors. One of my cousins had a tumor pulled out the size of a grapefruit. And, the mushroom let me know that was, sexual trauma that was passed paternally down that needed to be purged and released. So once that's gone, you can have healthier, happier kids, you're doing the work 7 generations behind and also 7 generations ahead. In some reality, I'm not even here right now. I'm my own ancestor. So using the mushroom helps me to connect with myself as if, I'm already in the future. I am my own ancestor and I am my own descendant at the same time, because eventually you might be reborn into your lineage. So, I'm helping myself out by cleaning up my body so that anything that comes out of me, any spirit that comes through me into this world has, less ancestral baggage to deal with, at least, So, and the cool part about it is, it's like that TV show in Altered Carbon, how different shells, physical bodies have memory. Your body has a ton of memory in it, and it's all on a quantum DNA level. So whatever work that I do, in the positive in this lifetime will affect my descendants. If I become a master in martial arts, there's a chance that that memory could be passed on to my daughter or my son, and they won't even have to do very much to learn it because it'll already be in their DNA. Same with healing, especially if you make a great stride in consciousness. What if, us doing 20 grams of mushrooms now and understanding that we have telepathic abilities, or, whatever ability that you have, or a family spirit, like you can connect with the jaguar spirit or the falcon spirit. What if 7 generations from now, kids are just born with access, to these abilities, and it's just normal, I feel like humans are evolving, and the mushroom has been used as a tool for evolution, since ancient times. And it's going to help us ultimately get to the other side of this thing, 20,000 years from now, where, kids are building universes, in high school, and that's a vision that I went to on mushrooms. And it shocked me that, you can't make that stuff up. You just can't imagine that there's plasma energy and consciousness controlling cars, or, controlling, different, schools, or you've got an entire school of people who are learning to build galaxies or something. That is unfathomable stuff, So I'm interested in helping move forward, in what ways I can, by doing my part for my lineage and for my kids, because I don't want them to have to go through getting diseases that are connected to spiritual illnesses that can be dealt with early on.